I'm sure that you all know the name of the parsha. Aviel? What's the name?
What's the name of the parsha?
Korach. Was Korach a tzaddik? Shh. You say he's not a tzaddik. I'm going to ask you a different question. Was Korach smart?
Yes.
Is the parsha telling us that he did a smart thing?
No.
Would you call somebody who did not a smart thing smart? You said he was smart. How do you know he was smart?
Torah says that.
Where does it say that Korach was smart? You're right. It said that Korach was smart. Do you know where that says? Rashi. Rashi brings it from the Midrash that Chodesh was smart. And Rashi has a big question. Aviel, what do you think Rashi's question is if Chodesh was smart?
Smart. Why would he try to kill Moshe?
You want to say loud?
Why would he try to kill Moshe if he was smart?
I'm going to rephrase the words the way Rashi uses it, but you said the point. Rashi asks, if he is smart, how come he did something which only a shoteh does? Obviously, Rashi says in Lashon, Ma ra'u, what made him deserve to this thing that only a shoteh does? By the way, in Lashon Kodesh, the word shoteh does not mean what it means in Bukhari. In shoteh in the Torah means if somebody makes a wrong turn. If you have to go straight and you go a little off, do you know what makes you go off?
What?
If you drive, what makes you go off?
Be careful whatever you're
Huh?
if you're not paying attention.
If you ignore the signals.
What would this? You would say you're going very far. A pothole would maybe ruin the steering. How do we call that?
The wheel.
Nah, the wheel alignment. Oh, if the wheel alignment is not straight, then automatically the car pulls a little off. Do you know what you got to do if the car pulls a little off?
Put it back straight.
You got to hold it the opposite way. Oh, what are you going to say? What do you mean? No, they taught me it has to be 10 after 2. It has to be exactly so. And if I go crooked, who cares? I follow the rule with a mask, right? I follow the rule. Whether it lets me breathe or it doesn't let me breathe, right? You got to know what the purpose is. So the question is, you know what the Rashi asks? Why did he go with the wrong wheel alignment? And you know what that means? In life, there are many things that people make their own decisions thinking, I know what's good for me. The minute you think, I know what's good for me, you have to go for a wheel alignment. That means you're for sure going crooked. Why? Because you think you're smart. Let's explain that. There are certain people that they think a good student is whoever knows how to get 100 on a test. I don't call that a student. I call that a good test taker. He might just know, he might have common sense, he may have never learned the subject, and get hundreds or in the high 90s on every test. He could figure out from the system of the test how to get 100 without cheating. It's a skill. You know what that skill has to do with? Knowing I could do it. When a person thinks, I didn't sleep last night, I won't be able to make it. You know how many wrongs there are? If you didn't sleep means you didn't have to sleep. It was proven to me. Let's go back. So what Rashi asks, what made Korach do that wrong turn? And you know what Rashi answers? Einoi, his eye, hit the soil, made him make a mistake. He thought he's going straight, but you know what the problem was? He was looking with his eye. Many explanations what means his eye. Some say he looked only about himself, his eye, what would be good for me, not what Hashem wants, things like this. Do you ever think that being kind means doing what's good for you? Know that that is a mistake. You know what means doing good? Doing what Hashem wants from you, why you came to this world. My question, Binyamin, whichever Binyamin has an answer, raise your hand. And let's see if you have the same answer. There are more than one Binyamin here. What's the question? Raise your hand. Yep. What's the question? What's the question? Have to figure out one, right?
Why did Korach mess up? Why did Korach mess up?
We just said he looked at himself and he wanted the best that he can do for himself. And what's wrong with that? The question is, what's wrong with that? Binyamin.
It's because everything is destined from Hashem, what is amazing.
I'm going to ask my question again. If his eye made him have a mistake, means he had an eye that had a wrong view. Why did he make a mistake? He looked with his eye.
But why?
So what's wrong with his eye? Hashem gave him the eye.
Because he didn't see what
Binyamin's.
Was it the
I'm gonna
desire?
throw the Binyamin's.
The desire to look?
At least three, maybe more.
He didn't see what Hashem wanted him to do.
So you said what I said before. If you look at what you want, it is always a mistake.
Yeah.
Why is it a mistake? Are you a mistake? Then how come it's a mistake if you want what you want?
Maybe what you want isn't the right thing.
You have to make your eye see what Hashem wants. You know when your eye sees what Hashem wants? What protects your eye to not see wrong things? We spoke about it last week, Thursday.
Learning.
And it's a passage that you say every day.
Lo taturu. Lo asane goy.
Only
Right.
It says,
We say it in davening every day.
Don't stray after
If
your
loy taturu, don't search achri einechem. When you see something, what did I just see? Let me focus on it. What you saw is not your problem. The first second. If you turn back and you Whether you want to open a machine again, I don't want to call it by their names, or you just, even on the street, you saw something, oh, it looks interesting, wait a minute. Does Hashem say, is it interesting? Is it Hashem's interest I should look at it? If yes, make sure you look at it. If not, it wasn't there to begin with. There's nothing to see. You know what happens then? Then you're not making mistakes. Then you don't fall in the pothole. You know what's created? You know there are 7 things created before the world was created. Did you learn that? Yes or no? You know them?
I probably don't know.
I don't recall
What?
all of them. I don't remember all of them.
Tell me 2 of them. I expect 2 of them. No.
The loop.
Gan Eden, Gehenna.
So it's 5.
Only Rabbi Gidayev's class can answer that question. Tell me 2 of the 7 things that has to do with what I just said.
The Arna Chodesh.
That, can you tell me the words in the Gemara? Let's assume you're right.
Beit HaMikdash.
Let's assume you're right. But I'm sure you didn't see these 2 words in the Gemara. And I'll tell you that one of them you didn't translate right. One of them, the Goyim translated that way. I hope that we don't. The people usually think that one of the words you said is right. So I'm not telling you wrong. I'm just saying,
Oh.
did you say, the 2 of the things that Elad said right, I'm going to say the words of the Gemara. Gan Eden and Gehenna. Gan Eden is where you see the truth, and Gehenna is where you don't see the truth. Do you know what it means where you don't see the truth? When somebody argues with me and he's wrong and I'm right, huh?
Yeah, I was
Yeah, no, I see the truth and the lie, right? It's always I'm right, yeah? You think so? If you think so, then you have good eyes or not?
Bad eyes.
Anyhow, before the world was created, Hashem said, I want to have a world the way I want it. And the reason there is a Gan Eden and a Gehenna is only to ensure that everybody will come out perfect. Everyone will be Mr. Perfect. That's not, people love to think about it, enjoyment or pain. That's not the topic at all. Hashem didn't create pain. Hashem created solutions. Are you aware that if somebody bothers you in this world, and you know that it comes from Hashem, you don't need to be fixed after this world? You only have to be fixed if you took the law in your hand. Korach and his children were swallowed under the ground. What made his children come out? They did tshuva the last minute. But what did they basically say? Moshe Emes, v'Torah say Emes. Moshe says the truth. What means the truth?
Torah.
is the truth.
What means the truth?
Torah.
The Torah is the truth, but is this what they said? Korach believed in the Torah.
Why we go there?
What did he say, Moshe Emes?
Because he claimed that Moshe was lying, that whatever Hashem told him was
So he had another opinion. Oh, is it like Rav and Shmuel? Is it like Abai and Rav? Is it like
he's
Shimon
going
and
against his
Yehuda?
word.
What?
He's going against his word. He's showing him disrespect.
He didn't believe that Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't say a word that he didn't hear from Hashem. Yes, you have a question? Say, I don't understand. Don't say, this is wrong because I understand different. Korach, let's go back. His eye made him decide, I'm going to make my decision. So he went off. And that doesn't mean that he wasn't smart by nature. He had, I'll interrupt, because I think that it would be too long if I continue now. Meanwhile, I'm just finishing with one thing, that his eye means that he looked the wrong way. Which halacha, I'm giving you time to think, which halacha do we have in this week's parsha that would have fixed, that the Torah says after the story with Korach? Which mitzvah? A mitzvah in the Torah. Because of the story of Korach. In fact, the word Korach is one of the words the Torah uses as the name of the mitzvah. Tell me the words in the Chumash that's here.
Not to be jealous.
I'm asking words in the Chumash. The pasuk says, it's really based on what I said before, but the way the pasuk describes it is, "V'lo yiyeh," it shall not be k'koyrech or k'adosoi. Should not be somebody similar to Korach, similar to his team, to his group, to the people that followed him. What was unique about Korach and his team? Making, as we said before, what's good for him, not necessarily only the devotion to Hashem. When we make it, I would like to just illustrate one little thing of how to look at your life. The fact that you can move your foot, is the strength that you can move your foot similar to foot? You got to think for that. Is the strength that you can elevate your
I
foot?
don't think so.
The strength, is it anywhere similar to the physical foot? Yes or no?
No. No.
Shh. If your foot hurts, does it mean the strength of moving is in pain?
Yes.
I'm asking you to think before you answer. Rabbi Levi, if you can move your hand, is the strength that you can move your hand similar to the finger?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Yes or no? Is the strength similar to the finger?
Oh.
It is my hand that is moving, or is my life that is moving it? What?
Say no. He's saying no.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's think a little further. Is the strand that you could move similar to the strand that you can talk?
Yes.
Nothing is the same.
And no.
Avichai. The same? The voice is the same as this?
Moving.
As this? As clapping? As knocking? As drumming? Is it the same?
No.
Same energy?
Yes.
I guess, yeah.
Same energy.
I'll tell you why it's not. You tried the second time, but okay. The energy of knocking is what you do to the drum. To this. The energy of talking is expressing yourself. It's much more alive. Thinking like that of thoughts compared to talk is another unlimited. There's more to go. when you don't like something, if you complain to Hashem, if you therefore, imagine somebody says, oh, today, not a joke, somebody told me yesterday what I didn't like, today I didn't put on film. It's not, it's worse than that. It's, you don't know who you are. You don't appreciate yourself. In other words, somebody stole from you one cent, you're going to take $1 million and rip it and throw it in the ocean. Or more than that. So the Pasuk says, let's go to the Pasuk. The Pasuk says that after Korach's people got burned and died, 250 people died, and after Korach was swallowed, the Pasuk says a mitzvah, a positive mitzvah, that to take a copper, put it on the Mizbeach, and it should be there forever. You know what that copper would remind everyone?
Fire.
The copper was made from the pans that the people brought Ketoret that they were not allowed to. And you know what that would be? On the Mizbeach. You know what that shows? The energy comes from Hashem. And you know what you got to do with it? A cover on the Mizbeach. Nobody else should dare talk against Moshe Rabbeinu. When you have a question, know that your life, just life, you can't move without energy that you have in the hand. You can't talk without. I had it personally. There was a time I couldn't move. There was a time I couldn't talk. I will tell you, in thinking was different. My brain was thinking the whole time. You know, there was in the hospital a big sign. I don't know if anybody was there, but I was told there was a big sign to the nurses. Over here you have to talk very nice words. This patient hears all the conversations. His brain works. Can you think to yourself, Hashem listens to everything, sees everything? Now, I will tell you minimum 2 things that I was thinking about while people thought I'm not around. That you all, at least one of them, you all know and benefited from it. The last thing in my mind, the first Shabbos that I was officially not here, there was a big Shabbaton in my mind, where the 2 Rabbi Gedayevs convinced my friend, which is my brother-in-law's brother, to run a Shabbaton. It was in Muncie. And over there I saw certain other rabbis from the community, from here. And I gave them certain jobs. One of them, I told him what to do about kosher, about a certain project. Every week he has to make sure that a certain detail is added in kashrus in the area. Somehow I'm being updated from him constantly about those projects. One of them that you will, I'm the one that's most exciting for you, I want to leave for last. But no, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to do that second. The third one I'm going to. No. The rabbi that was running that Shabbaton, that somehow the 2 Rabbi Gedayevs like his shiurim so much, and therefore they picked him to run that Shabbaton. Should I tell him? So this rabbi was also building his own, in let's call it in the dreamland, right? He's building his own path, his own shul, and he is building it himself with his own hands. He also has a nice vineyard based on Gemaras, and he had, we'll pull them, why just vineyards? The Gemara says to be much clearer than that. Anyhow, now, I had no idea there's anything to that. But then I realized, after that Matzah Shabbos, there was somebody there in that Shabbaton that I told him, if you cannot do this project yourself, take a partner, which he didn't take that partner. But he did get a van for yeshiva. Somehow, I knew that I sent him a text, but somehow the text was erased from my phone. You could all imagine what I mean by that. But it happened. How do I know? You came to visit me with a van.
I don't think they truly comprehend what you're saying, but it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
I'm trying to say, when we think that things are imaginations, it is true. Now, last week, I met my nephew, which is also a nephew of that rabbi in Muncie. You still don't know who that is, right? But and it was so interesting that I asked my nephew, does your uncle who lives in Muncie have a shul? He said, no. He davens in his brother's shul. Oh, does his brother, anything unique about that shul? Yes, he built it himself. Does he have a vineyard there? Yes. He's very creative. So that tells me a very important rule, that we're never where we think we are. We're always where Hashem wants us. You know what the difference? You know why I imagined that and you didn't?
Why?
I didn't have the blockage of looking in the wrong places at that time. If we take away that, then there is peace. You know what peace means? That the opposites are not a contradiction. So the pasuk says the rule of that copper on the mizbeach is in order to ensure that there will never be again such a thing as arguments. And you know what? In this parsha, all of a sudden Hashem, you know what? Anybody knows how the insurance business works? You invest, and then you take out more. Is it the same as planting? In a way, yes. Did you ever think if somebody puts in a seed in the ground that he's investing in an insurance company? If he thinks that Hashem is bringing out the produce, then he would never put in a seed without already envisioning the growth. Binyamin, can you tell me in which way putting in the seed is proving that you believe in Hashem?
Louder.
If you say even louder, I might hear too. If you're saying, say louder.
Plant the seed, water it, and wait for it to grow.
Plant a seed.
The water makes it grow.
Hashem.
Rabbi Chaimov, can you tell me how I answered this question before I asked? I'm going to say it again then, but you're going to tell me how it answers. A believer in Hashem would not put in seed in the ground only because he's ensured that when Hashem said to the earth to give produce, the first time it was by the word of Hashem. And then Hashem said, we got to put in the action. And when we do the action, it grows for sure. There is recently a boy who learns in a certain yeshiva, not in this yeshiva, who doesn't always do what his Rebbe tells him. He does only 80%, not fully. And I asked him, what kind of a family do you want to raise? He said, at least as great as my Rebbe's. Are you ready to invest what your Rebbe tells you to ensure that? Yes. I sometimes forget. You know what happens when you put in seed in the ground? Very few percent grows. You know how much grows? How much faith you have that Hashem makes it grow. When you imagine that what kind of in the future you want to have, know that it... Now let's go back to how the end of the parasha finishes and fixes the problem of arguments. You know what the insurance in this parasha is? Hashem promised to Aaron HaKohen that he will be the one to bless all the Jews and to bring all the goods to the Jews forever. And you know what? You know how every Yisrael is a part of it? Anybody knows? Anybody knows? There is enough here for all the answers.
Oh my God.
In this week's parasha, many mitzvahs in the Torah deals with this insurance. There is enough here for everyone. Depends which one. No? There is 24 presents that Kohanim get. Is one of them. If somebody knows 24, it's 24. You know 24? Now, you know all 24?
No.
Challah is one. Okay. Yeah, you understand much here. You want to tell me another one?
Korban. They get to eat the food.
If you say korban, you got to tell me which part of the korban.
I don't recall.
Which part of the korban? Actually, you got to tell me 3 parts of the korban. You know 3? The answer is 3 parts.
The head, the face.
Your voice comes this way.
How about right? He knows what I'm about.
Are you telling me 3 parts? Then say loud. Truma is another one, but that's not the 3 parts.
Rabbi,
3 parts, yeah.
Cheekbone, jawbone, and
Rabbi,
Tell
eye
us
socket.
Rabbi,
Nobody eats an eye socket.
Rabbi, cheekbone,
No. Oh, the hip.
arm,
The hip.
arm, Rabbi.
Small intestine. I got all 3.
The words in the Chumash, yeah.
Arm and tongue.
Say it again.
Cheek, arm, and tongue.
False.
I think bring it here.
Stole my answer.
Well, anyhow, so basically it's an insurance.
There we go. I got another one. Firstborn.
The firstborn, you didn't tell me. If you say the word firstborn, you got to tell me 2 parts.
Firstborn baby.
Animal
The redeeming of
Animal.
the child.
and child.
The redeeming of the child.
Say it in Hebrew.
What animal?
How is the word in the
Pidyon haben. Pidyon
Chumash?
haben.
Hor.
Pidyon haben.
So what's the question now?
Okay.
Rabbi, pidyon
But,
haben.
yeah, but it's what's called out already. Okay, listen. The point is,
The first haircut of the sheep.
the closer you're there, the less you know, right? I want to see the haircut, yeah. Steve gets a haircut, right? Let's do it.
Oh, Rebbe, I have another one.
Enough. What I'm trying to bring out with that is, Aaron HaKohen and Moshe were not only not part of the argument. I was once, I think I was 13 years old. Please have a seat. No. When I was 13 years old, I remember being in yeshiva, and there was somebody, you know, there's some people like to play ball. There are some boys that they call them a bully. So there was somebody who loved teasing me. He saw that I never answer him.
So you slept with
I did not know the words that he was talking about. So one day he decided to start pushing me. Happens to be the oldest boy in yeshiva. Then I was 13, he was 19 or 20. And happens to be very interesting. For me, when I was 13, I looked at that boy as he was 19. He happened to be the oldest. He was the tallest. And he had the longest pants. Happened to be, it was all three on the same person. As soon as they saw me thinking that I'm offended when he pushed me. So he comes over to me and he says, you know, you can only argue with a person that argues back. You didn't do anything back, you'll see, he will stop. He didn't even talk to me. But the man never did anything more. If something happens that we don't like, so you see that the pasuk says it should not be somebody like Korach and his people. Who did they argue with? Moshe. Moshe responded. Moshe was teaching us very important rules, how to deal with the answers. Let's say they said, and it's a very important thing, tzitzis is a very important mitzvah. They said, how about if somebody has a blue shirt? Does he need tzitzis? And of course he answered yes. So he made a whole argument. If it's only blue to look up to heaven, thinking that it's heaven, well, heaven makes me look up to Hashem. Then, if a whole picture is blue, why do I need it? So Moshe Rabbeinu answered them. The answer is that when you have that string, it penetrates into you. When you don't have that string, you think it's an overall picture. Imagine, a person says, I'm in yeshiva, but I don't wear tzitzis. I'm in yeshiva, but sometimes I don't daven. So the message was, there doesn't exist such a thing. That means, when you wear tzitzit, it reminds you about many other things. The Gemara talks about a person who, because he wore tzitzis, he was saved from committing adultery. So every mitzvah and every detailed mitzvah, you have to know that the decision is not the theory. The theory is good to make us feel good about it. But the decision is, I'm doing what Hashem wants. I don't know if you're aware, but sometimes I drive in an area and I want to know if this is a Jew's house. How do I know that? A mezuzah. So what did they ask him? How does a mezuzah, a house where you have svarim all over the house, do you need a mezuzah? And of course the answer is yes. When they asked him why, it's only 2 paragraphs of Torah, but you have so many chamashim, you have so many other Torahs inside. What is the answer?
Mitzvah.
That when
Shema is min ha-Torah, that's why. Shema is min ha-Torah.
It's a mitzvah. What is the answer? Why do you need that even then?
Why?
The answer is that when you learn Torah, you might think that it's only wisdom. By having the mezuzah outside, I only go in because I want to be in Hashem's house.
Different mindset.
It's going back to the same thing. Not thinking about how I look, thinking, oh, I'm going into Hashem's house. So let us take whatever we learned about and be happy and thankful to Hashem in every way, and then you'll always be happy.